Good evening. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6 PL 1975, C-231 S1 amended in 2006, C-70 S2, the Asbury Park Board of Education has provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending a notice of the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press and the New Coaster on January 8th, 2021 via email. Copies of this notice have also been placed at the Administration Building Bulletin Board, District Schools, Asbury Park Municipal Building, Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the City Clerk on January 8th, 2021. The Asbury Park School District will provide all students with a comprehensive and progressive education where everyone possesses the skill and character to succeed in a diverse, evolving global society. Roll call, please, Mr. Hastings.
Salvez Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Breach.
Here.
Ms. Cook.
Here.
Mr. Grillo.
Here.
Mr. LaRocca.
Here.
Mr. Remy. Mr. Saunders. Ms. Lozinski.
Here.
Ms. Etienne.
Here. Please stand for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. LaRocca, would you like to start with your committee report?
I apologize, I missed the Finance Committee, so I think
Lozinski.
Barbara, Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
My apologies.
At our Finance Committee, we discussed appointment of the new energy service company, the 2022 budget. We went over just briefly about how much money that we will not be getting this year. That's being reduced. It's in the realm of about, what is it, Mr. Hastings, 6?
The estimate is, without any enrollment adjustments, about $5.5 million.
5.5 million. We also discussed Kelly Services and substitution rates, the central office lease, RFP for architectural services because of the federal regulations with the ESSER funds being utilized. We also did discuss ESSER funds with the building improvements, HAVAC. All the 4 district schools need new boilers, air handlers, rooftop systems, air conditioning, and we also discussed the media and science room modernizations. Any questions? Mr. Hastings, did I miss something?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Mrs. Linsky. Would you like, Ms. Cook, would you like to report on
Yes, please.
curriculum?
Good evening, everyone. So recommended board approval for the Early Childhood Development Department in collaboration with the Central Jersey Urgent Care to provide 100 vouchers for the flu vaccine at the Office of Central Jersey Urgent Care to assess preschool families in meeting the state influenza vaccine mandate for preschool children. Cost should not exceed over $2,000. The recommended board approval to obtain a licensing of social and emotional literacy curriculum titled Dangers of Our Mind for the Dr. Martin Luther King in Asbury Park High School. This curriculum will provide a unique perspective on issues that affect students due to their personal cerebral input. Dangers of the Mind LLC identifies mental breakdowns that one may face in order to overcome their negative thoughts and fundamentally create a sustainable, progressive outcome for their future. Over the course of 36 weeks, students will be able to identify and engage in lessons that are designed to reach, teach, and build a strong system for future pioneers that will be able to harness their internal power and ultimately catapult into their rightful purpose. And the cost should not exceed over $6,000. Lastly, that was my last one. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Cook. Mr. Remy, Buildings and Grounds? Mr. Hastings?
Sure. There were no facility use requests for the committee to consider. We talked about the solar project going on at the 4 schools and updated the committee. Panel placements are complete, and we're awaiting a JCP&L hookup date here at Bradley. Thurgood and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Upper Elementary. We both expected both schools, the panels, to be in place by the end of next week, and they were working on the anchoring system at the high school at this time, so that should begin next week with the start of the panel placements. Again, we did talk about the RFP for architectural services so that we're compliant with federal procurement regs in terms of spending ESSER money. And we talked about moving forward with the competitive contract for a energy savings company for our ESIP.
Are there any questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Hastings. Mr. Grillo?
Sure, thank you. So at the policy committee meeting, there were a couple of new mandated policies. Sorry? Oh, okay. One was the school employee vaccination requirements that are new. On August 23rd, Governor Murphy signed Executive Order 253 that requires all public school districts, charter schools, parochial schools, and employees to be fully vaccinated or submit to COVID testing at a minimum of 1 or 2 times per week. And the executive order was effective October 18th. And Strauss Esme developed a policy guide to address the vaccination and testing requirements. And so that was one policy that is new. There was also one that was a safety plan for healthcare settings in school buildings. Also, a new policy that was mandated was a revised statute that permits a school district to implement a commissioner-approved program for virtual or remote instruction in the event that a school district is required to close for more than 3 consecutive school days due to public health emergency or any declared state of emergency. And then finally, there was a revised mandate on sexual harassment of students. And the final rule defines sexual harassment, requires the school district to designate a Title IX coordinator, outlines notice requirements, and establishes a reporting, investigation, hearing, and appeal process requirements. And I think that's it. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Ms. Breach?
We actually had 2 brief meetings since our last full board meeting. One was dealing with the homecoming situation, which unfortunately we weren't able to have a parade, but we were still able to have a game, which we won. So we're looking at maybe, doing something down the road if we have another playoff game, as far as, the floats and things like that. That's going to be discussed. The other meeting was dealing with the appointment of our high school head boys basketball coach and assistant coach, which is still in the interview process. No decision or recommendations have been made at this time. That's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, that will conclude our committee meeting, our committee reports. At this time, we're going to be opening the floor up for public participation. Please come up to the mic, state your name and your address. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, Felicia Simmons, 1034 Sewell Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I'm here for a couple reasons, but most of the reason is the objective. First, I commend a lot of you school boards for pushing past your personal and physical shortcomings and things that you have to do to come and do your job for the community which you serve. And I commend you and love you for it because it's important. And also on that note, we have to say that this is not a seat for people to continuously pass out their personal vendettas. I'm here for a case particularly from 2014 that's cost the school district well over $100,000 in litigation, which, right, I won. I won with a judgment. They're appealing it, so it's going to cost the school district even more money. But it's foolishness, because in the end, it was just someone carrying out their personal vendetta, which I hear through the community that is continuing. When you take every dollar that you spend on something that is foolish and reckless, you take it away directly out the mouths and the hands of our children, which they need, right? We talk about these cuts. So what can we spend $100,000 or well over $100,000 on something that's been just ridiculous, right? Was, quote the judge, foolishness and unnecessary, right? What could we have spent it on? Education, science programs, different things. The science labs look the same as I did when I left here 20 years, just about. We take it out. All you people who spend your time here, you're away from your family, away from other things. You have, it is more important for you to use that time to spend on our children, not to carry out people's personal agendas, which harms the school district. And that's exactly, directly against the vow and the oath that you took to say, to protect the school district and the interests of the school. Your job is specific. The most important job, you have two as a school board member, to hire a superintendent and to permit policy and produce policy, right? Real policy, policy that benefits the districts for the future. And that is your job. Not to carry out personal agendas, not to get fringe jobs, not to get deals, not to sustain your foundations, but is to do a job for the children and the benefit of this community. We're looking here to make sure that it's carried out. There's objectives that our children need. We're in dire need. The world has changed and crumbled around us. So we don't have time for foolishness and vindictiveness. And I just want to, again, thank all you who spend your time. God bless you, and have a wonderful night, and continue to do your job.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Mrs. Bray, resident of Asbury Park. I was reading your mission statement. It says Asbury Park School District will provide all students with a comprehensive and progressive education where everyone possesses the skills and characters to succeed in a diverse, evolving global society. Well, once again, I'm coming out tonight because my daughter is on home instruction. I have reached out. This is my only child that has been in this Asbury Park system. The integrity lacks, communication lacks. I feel like I'm chasing you all for things for my daughter that she is supposed to have. When I say something to everybody, they're like, oh, I don't get the money. Oh, such and such gets the money. It doesn't matter who gets the money for my child. She is still getting a grant for her to go to public school, and just because she's on home instruction does not mean that she's thrown to the wayside and you get to her whenever you feel like it, because I'm just not that parent. I'm big on education, and if she needs this to succeed, and you all are the ones with the key focus to help her succeed, I need more communication, and I need y'all to better up y'all integrity, because everybody as a whole is not great. This education system is failing. There's too many secrets going on. It's just too much. And if you're too busy and you're too tired, at the end of the day, think. You picked this profession. You said you're going to help better our children. So if the job is too much for you, you need to pass the baton to somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Rogers, Sewell Avenue. I seem to be repeating myself on questions I'm asking and a couple of things on the agenda. First of all, I don't know everything, and if they can explain the Kelly Services situation, where I'm reading that principals, because we don't have substitutes, are having to run classes. I know we got rid of vice principals. I know we don't have a situation that we understand. Is there a process to make sure that we're getting enough staff in these buildings to get what needs to be done? And I did speak to a former person that does substitute, and they told me that the rate was low versus other districts. And they went to other districts. So we have a service that we're paying for. What are we doing? And like I said, maybe it's a cost savings, you're using Kelly Services. I don't know. My other issue goes to, and I hope these things are explained to me, this building situation. And I've spoke to many people in this building, on this 4th Avenue building. If you need on a Saturday, we go in and we tag what people are in what rooms. I can move most of your staff out of those buildings into these other auxiliary buildings where we're paying almost $500,000 for stuff that should be going to our kids. We have to realize that we're reducing these fees. Taxpayers are going to have to increase their taxes, and we're going to have to realize how to maintain and satisfy the needs of our kids and get things done and not have everybody be laxed and be comfortable. It's not about being comfortable. These kids are deserving. And I get to, when you get a person that's coming up and talking about her child over and over again, it's ridiculous. How many times do we got to have a person come up and talk about their child? And I know many people that haven't come, and they call me asking what they should do. This is ridiculous. And somebody's got to say something. She was right. If you don't want to do this, this is not something that people who are getting paid great salaries are benefiting from. We need to make sure these kids are satisfied and getting stuff. And we need to stop the underhandedness and everything else that's going on. Like, people don't know what's going on in this district is ridiculous. We have to start rebuilding this community. And until we start doing it, no one else is going to do it. And you think that I go away, ask the city. Because I went after the city manager because they weren't thinking about what is best for this community. I will go after every person that does not want to benefit this community and these kids.
Good evening. My name is Ramon Palmer. Before I get started, Mr. Hastings, I have something that I would like to give you so you can give out to the board members, please. Good evening once again. Can everyone hear me? And I will ask that when board members speak, can you guys remove your mask? Because I'm in the back row and I really could not hear much of anything. I think I heard Ms. Lazinski say that you guys had interviewed for basketball and you guys had not made a determination. So I'm here to speak about that this evening. I wrote an email to the athletic director yesterday, and I would like to read it to you. So, Mr. Mark Jabino, I am writing to you about the position that I applied for in September of this year for the head coaching position of the high school boys basketball program. In my interview, I was asked about my qualification for said position. I shared with you then, but I will reiterate my experience to you again in this email. Before I list the vast amount of experience with coaching and training I had with both male and female athletes, I would like to say to you that it would be my honor and a dream come true to be in position to lead young men and not only teach them about basketball, but the commitment it takes as an individual to be successful. Also, how working synergistically with others in the team concept can be both rewarding and memorable. I played basketball for the Blue Bishops and graduated from high school in 1985. I left Asbury Park holding several records that are still in place today. I hold the record for the most steals, the most assists, and ultimately I am Asbury Park's all-time leader in points. I am proud of those accomplishments, but I believe I have held on them far too long. Records are made to be broken. There should be a desire to set a new standard, a new mark of achievement. Our students are missing out on so much history. This is why I believe that I would be an asset to the program. There were many accolades that I received coming out of high school. The most gratifying was accepting a full 4-year scholarship to the Monmouth University men's program. I have been coaching and training individuals in basketball since I returned home from college in 1990. I worked as a training coach at local facility in Neptune called Hoop Group. I spent 1 season coaching young men for a prep school team out of Ocean Township. I've also started my own AAU program called Universal Laws of Basketball, which ran for several years here in district. The ULOB program is recognized in Asbury Park school system like similar youth programs, Pop Warner, and the Little League Baseball. I also work as a high school referee, which allowed me the opportunity to see athletes across the state mature and receive scholarship opportunities to further their education as well as their lives. With the proper training, coaching, and life skills instruction, I believe this would make a big difference in creating opportunities that our children in the city need and deserve to be exposed to. I have recently found out that the interview that I had with you, there was no head coach chosen. It was also brought to my attention that the job was reposted and closed without anyone from the district notifying me of the reason a coach was not hired and the opportunity to reapply. At this point, I believe that there may have been some bias as to why I was not given the position or the opportunity to reapply. I am seeking an internal investigation on the hiring practice that ostensibly have rendered my application, resume, and experience void in this situation. I would like to be honestly considered for this position. I am looking for a response from you, sir, sooner than later, or I'll be forced to seek help from the State Attorney General on your hiring practices. I would love to be chosen to serve the children of Asbury. I am someone who takes basketball and education seriously and will commit to the teaching and proper training of our children in Asbury Park. So I wrote that email because, as I said, I interviewed for this job on September 16th, and I never heard anything about someone being chosen. The job was reopened and closed, and I was never notified about it. It's also been brought to my attention that you've had some board, so I'm talking directly to you right now at this point, Mr. Adams, right? So you're the superintendent, you handle the day-to-day operations. It's been brought to my attention that you've had board members.
Madam President, point of order.
Excuse me? Okay.
Point of
Again,
order. Mr. Palmer, you should be directing your comments to the board president. You
fair
were
enough.
at one point.
Madam President, I'm speaking with you, okay? I was told that you have board members who overstepped, their ethics, right? Their sworn ethics, handling day-to-day operations, right? They're telling people stories about me that is not accurate, that I was told that prevented me from being chosen for this opportunity. I'm from Asbury Park. Like I said in my email, I played here in the city. I received a Division I scholarship. I hold records in this school. I'm a retired fireman from the city. As you know, I've sat in that position that you're currently sitting in twice. I've committed myself to the city of Asbury Park. I've committed myself to helping young people in this community. For board members whose job, like Ms. Felicia Smith-Simmons said earlier, your job is to set policy. It's not to handle the day-to-day operations. There's other people that you pay in this district to do that. So like I said, when I wrote this email to the athletic director, I would like to hear something sooner than later about why I was not given the opportunity to reapply for a position that I believe that I am most qualified for, most deserving.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Do we have any emails or phone calls, Mr. Hastings?
I have a question to Mr. Adams and Madam President. Do you think we should discuss this matter in closed session, or can we not, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, it's my understanding that the interview process is ongoing, and as a result of that, and in view of the fact that no one has been selected for the position or no names have been put forward, it really is premature for the board to even consider this at this point. Additionally, as everyone knows, no names come forward without the superintendent putting them forward. So as far as I'm aware, the interview process is ongoing. No selection has been made, and therefore there really is nothing for the board to do right now unless and until the superintendent makes a recommendation with regard to a name.
Sheila Brazil, 1200 Jefferson Street, Asbury Park. As I'm gonna go back, way back to yonder years, when my son was like in elementary, middle school, high school. We had a thing called SMT, School Management Team. We also had a thing called School Leadership Committee. So it was, for the interview process for these positions, you had community people, you had parents, you had administrators, you had teachers, and you had paraprofessionals. So I think that need to come back so everything could be transparent. And so we wouldn't be having these problems today. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Acevedo. I'm an alum of Asbury Park High School and a basketball player, also a retired referee. I'm here in behalf of my friend and brother, Ramon Palmer. I'm gonna make this as quick as I can. There's no better individual qualified to lead the children of Asbury Park in sports and basketball and towards education than that individual. That man, I've known him 40 years, has given his life, his money, his time to the children of Asbury Park. Not to go into his personal business, that man has lost a lot of finances trying to uplift the young people in athletics of Asbury Park. And I think, and know in my heart, that it would be a disservice to this community, to these young people, that we allow this individual to go somewhere else and teach other people's kids about basketball, about refereeing, and about life. This is an individual, none of us are perfect. Despite his character flaws, this is a high character human being that I think should be not only considered, but chosen for the opportunity. And I guarantee you, you guys will never, ever regret it. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There are no emails to our public comment box.
Okay, so we'll be closing the public participation portion.
Hi, my name is Pamela Ferguson. I'm here on behalf of my granddaughter, Keziah Franks. My granddaughter attends this school, Bradley School. She was attending Obama School until they closed the school up. My problem is I have a granddaughter and I have no way to get her to school. She was receiving transportation via the bus. They stopped the bus. I have no way to get her to school. She loves school. She wants to come every day. And I want to know what is being offered for parents that they closed Obama school. As you can see, I'm disabled. I cannot walk her to school. I have an older grandson. He goes to the high school. He has to be in school before she does. So I'm at a dilemma and I need some help. And that's why I'm here. So I wanted to know if there's any way that I can receive any help to get a transportation. When school started, the bus came and got her. They stopped the bus and that just left me in a pickle. I've been using money every day for cab fare to get her to school. I don't run out of money for the month. I just get disability. So I need help.
Can you repeat your name for me, please?
Pamela Ferguson.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to be closing the public participation portion.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Hamilton. I live at 84 Creek Road in Keansburg, New Jersey. I'm a 22-year in the classroom teacher. I originally came up here to find out if I got an answer to my question last month about the racial statements that were made on the public website. I was met with silence. Not an agreement, not a disagreement, no questions, nothing. I was hoping to come back tonight to talk about that, but the last minute addendum infuriated me. After a nationwide search, this board has decided to let Dr. Repillet's political fingers stay in the system. We saw that little smoke and mirror show with Dr. Repillet. We saw the nepotism. We saw the positions that were created for people that were not qualified for it, and still we was met with silence. If we want to move this district forward, you need to listen to the people that actually work in the trenches. I'm not here as a disgruntled employee. This is my first, last, and only stop in my educational journey. I didn't hitch my wagon to stop here, milk the system, and move on to a new position. I'm not going off to Brookdale. I'm not going off to Kane University. And to find that it was met with silence, it just disappoints me as an educator. At least I would hope that someone would stand up and disagree with me. The nonsense about the blogger, nobody, not central office, not the board, no one disagreed that those statements were false or true. The survey we gave you from the staff, which more than 200 staff responded to, 80% felt that the present acting superintendent was not our choice. This was not a personal attack. This was looking to put our school district on a good foot towards the future. This is like watching the play Cats with the next round of characters playing the lead roles. We have never decided to change our course. And I came in here, I didn't even want to come tonight. I was just so upset that this last minute addendum was slipped in. It was not public this afternoon, and that it's going to be pushed through tonight. I urgently ask the board to reconsider and to listen a little more to the people that actually do the work every single day, educating and keeping love with these children of Asbury Park. Our COVID protocols are not followed. Everything that's tweeted out makes it look like everything is just great in the district. Talk to any local police officer, as I did last month after the meeting, and they have a very different story about what's going on in the district. Talk to any teacher and find out if you do have the supplies, if you do have the support that you need, and you'll find a very different story. Talk about the walkthroughs where 8 to 10 people walk into a classroom. They spend 2 hours every day in a school, and then all we get is negative feedback. My last feedback, I heard from a supervisor, that my last feedback was that I sat on a desk, an empty desk, while I was giving instructions to my students in class. This is my style. Anybody who wants to walk into my classroom, feel free. Every day you will see a classroom that is loaded with love and support, not politics. This whole fact that this is being pushed through tonight is absolutely disgraceful and disgusting. I appreciate you letting me vent my anger and vent my frustration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the public participation portion of our meeting is closed. Do you have one more?
My name is Danielle Petrucci. I'm a resident of Middletown and an Asbury Park School District staff. Good evening. 19 months into this global pandemic, I am here to share my concerns about the management, or rather mismanagement, of the safety in our schools. I have previously addressed these concerns with human resources, school nurses, administrators, and union representatives. However, district policy and the lack of enforcement is a matter that should be brought to your attention. On October 22nd, the end of the 7th week of school, day 33, a document titled The Road Forward 21-22 was posted on the district website. This information was never sent to staff or parents. It is available only in English. It lacks details and accountability, and honestly, it is very hard to locate on the website. Our school nurses were not even included in the development of this plan, nor were they made aware of its posting on our district website. Even with this plan, many questions still remain. Parental screening is included in the plan. However, we currently don't have any screening in place for students. All staff signed a form agreeing to stay home if we were sick, but there is nothing for parents and students and never was. Even at the height of the pandemic last year, there was no screening at all. In other towns, including where I live, children were not even allowed to enter the school building without a form or screening. Most parents are not aware of how long they have to keep their child at home or where to get tested, but we can't blame this when this information was never provided to them. By the time they are notified, it is too late and the student has been in school or been exposed to others. Contact tracing and testing is also mentioned in the Road Forward plan. As staff, we don't know who is considered a close contact because the criteria seems to vary. There is no consistent criteria for the timeline of exposure. Students, staff, and families are all put at risk. Many staff members, including myself, were never notified of direct exposure to COVID-19. Some parents have delayed testing due to access to transportation or insurance, putting everyone at risk since contact tracing doesn't technically begin until the test result is available. Staff have recently reported to all of us that it has taken up to 15 days for them to be notified of their direct exposure. All of these responsibilities will be placed on the school nurses, who are either being pulled to cover another school or managing other daily medical emergencies. One nurse in particular is working with over 640 students on her own. The school day doesn't even allow time to address these COVID-related processes. Will there be testing available for the vaccinated staff in addition to the unvaccinated staff and students, as mentioned in the new plan? If and when the testing takes place, will the nurse be expected to manage testing of staff and students with one sink in the isolation room? How can we expect our nurses to take all of this on when they were never involved or made aware of this? Why don't our dedicated, educated staff get the same communication and transparency as the dedicated educators do in other districts? And why aren't our parents and children given the same respect as others in those districts? We all, can I finish? We all want our students in school, learning, but this lack of policy and procedure enforcement and lack of accountability scares me. I know that we are all here because we are in support and have concern for the education and well-being of the students at Asbury Park. All of you serve this district in an extraordinary way in dedicating your time and expertise as board members. I am confident that you too believe that our children, parents, teachers, nurses, and staff deserve much better than what is taking place in our schools regarding this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now the public participation portion of our meeting is closed. Ms. Hastings? At this point in time, we're going to be going into exec. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act allows for the exclusion from discussion at the public portion of a meeting of certain matters as outlined below. And whereas the Asbury Park Board of Education wishes to discuss such matters and will make such matters public when the proper conclusion has been reached. Now therefore it be resolved that at October 28th, 2021, at Asbury Park, New Jersey, for the purpose as outlined and described below, upon return action may be taken. We'll be going into exec for the following reasons.
We'll be going into executive session to discuss matters related to personnel, contracting, matters related to attorney-client privilege, matters related to litigation, and it's anticipated that we will be in executive session for approximately 30 minutes. We'll be returning to this room after executive session.
I'll move it.
Ow.